Hold on, I need to hold my little baby mic. Hi friends, how you doing? We're gonna do a little live about certainty and uncertainty. What does that even mean? How do we do life right now? And what in the heck are we supposed to do with our hands when everything is on fire? Let alone like take care of ourselves and function. Thank you guys for being here. Please like and engage with content. I've said some very political things that the algorithms are not happy with, and that's cool. I'll say it again. But yeah, if you guys could engage and share, that would be super helpful. But I want to talk about certainty and the lie of certainty and the lies of control that keep us stuck. So what is certainty in an uncontrollable world? I came across this journal that were love letters to me when I was navigating such a difficult time of my life. It was during 2020, life falling apart, loss of job, separation that led to divorce. So much, y'all. I can't even begin to tell you how many things just beat me upside the head. And it was the breaking that had to happen that I had to experience in order to walk into something new. I had so much discomfort and uncertainty because I had never really learned my relationship to my own ability, my own power, my own desire, my own yes, my own no. I had no idea how to actually stand in uncertainty and to know that I can create safety there. And I want to share with you something that I wrote, because these are commitments that I promised to myself in a place of total uncertainty. And that we get to create it within us, and that we get to make these commitments and vows to ourselves. That's why I wear a ring, because I literally made vows to me. Why are we out here making vows to people, y'all, if we can't even commit to ourselves? And that's not to bring shame. That's not to bring any type of judgment towards you. That's to welcome you into awareness within the safety to say, me too. And we have to choose differently if we ever want to have a different outcome. It's courageous, it's scary, and it's not something that most people will choose. That if you look around at the world right now, you see most people are completely unwilling to look at the truth and themselves, because there are lies wrapped so deeply around it. We have believed what we faced from childhood and we just carry it forward. And part of that is our own inability to face life, to stand up when it's right, to do the thing when we're scared, and then it breaks our trust. So let's talk about it. This was what I wrote about last year. This is my commitment to you, Lace. I will lean into your pain. I want to witness you in your fullness. Imagine somebody that you loved, that you needed to hear, a parent, whoever was saying this to you. How deeply the power of our word actually goes to us and to others. I want to witness you in your fullness. I want to make amends for what I've done. I want to create a home that is within you, that is healthy and safe. I will hold you when you cry. I will ask for help if you need it. I will honor the truth even if it hurts. I will do what is best for you even if it costs me. I will not choose the unhealthy known to avoid the challenging discomfort of I don't know. I will create space to cultivate your gifts and your passions and to invest in you. I will continue learning how to care for you. I will no longer outsource your worthiness to the opinions and approval of others. I'm going to say that one again because we all need to hear that one. I will no longer outsource your worthiness to the opinions and judgments of others. I will not turn away from the parts of you and the spaces in you that feel ugly. I will romance you, and I will write you love letters. I will protect your heart and your mind and your soul. I am here and I will always be. I'm sorry. I'm trying. I want to let you be as you are fully. These are my love letters, the non-linear, bumpy learning, exploration, and the deepest spaces of me. So many people need to hear this last line from you to you. From you. We needed this from a parent first, and that's how this is modeled. And so many of us, me included, did not experience the safety to create the space to actually step into this. There is no shame in that. That is what happened. And the more that we don't run from that pain, we don't run from that acceptance, it's both and always. We can hear this. Come home. You are safe. I'm excited to see you. And I love you. Y'all, just that in and of itself, how many times did I just need the presence of a caregiver that was a regulated, safe space? Because this is the reality of what we are seeing in the world right now. What we are seeing in the world right now is that we are in an uncontrollable world always. There is no such thing as certainty. Nothing. Other than the certainty that comes from within. And this is, if I could encourage you guys more than anything right now, and I am doing the same thing for me, is to look for certainty within your choices that you can anticipate and expect. Your nervous system is always looking. Your nervous system is trying to predict the future. And we are in a time that is completely uncertain and unpredictable because we have never been here today. It is your first time here today. It is your first time on this live with these people, in this conversation, in this part of the world, in this reality. It is your first time here. Give yourself grace to say that you need things. You need to act in a way that actually creates certainty for you within you, not because out there has changed, but in here has changed in relationship to out there. So what does it mean to have certainty in an uncertain world? It's that list of commitments. What are your commitments to you? I have a ring on this hand. I bought myself a rock, y'all, because when I got divorced, I missed my ring. But I also wanted to honor the fact that I had never honored my own word to me. I had never seen the truth of vows played out in action. I made commitments to a partner that I didn't honor because I did not know how. I have been a nanny of 14 years, and I have seen so many people that have good hearts trying to do it without any teaching of how to, because they're scared to show what is underneath. They're scared to be truthful with themselves that it hurts, that was real, that I had real needs, that I did not get what I hoped for, and that there is grief in that. In the illusion of control, there are parts of us that developmentally have gotten stuck because we have not walked through the full pathway that gives us the integration into then action and tools. I see this every single day with small people as a nanny. I'm serious. They are the same conversations I have with children that I have with adults. They are the same roots. They are deeply human. We need to feel safe. Understanding our basic human needs and the hierarchy of that, right? If I don't feel safe, if I don't feel that I have the most basic of things, my brain literally switches off to the part of the brain that is responsible for the survival responses. When you are being chased by a bear, it's not the time to contemplate your life and to be a little lovey-dovey. You react. You respond. You do what is needed to then survive. And that we've adapted so many systems that are maladaptive because we've had to be in environments and adapt to spaces that go against everything that is human. It is actually a sign. I'm trying to remember where I heard this from. I'll put it in the comments or caption afterwards, but that it is actually a sign of health that you're struggling right now, that you're feeling overwhelmed, that you're feeling, because the amount of things that are intended to cut you off from your feeling or numb you out or bombard you, it's actually showing you that you are not adapted to a maladaptive space. And that's a good thing. That is a good thing. We need people. We need healthy mirrors to show us, yes, you're allowed to have that. That's all I hope to do, is to show you that I have had such a freaking process to arrive to this place, and that I have every reason to be cynical, to be unalived, and almost was, and had to go into the breaking of a lifetime to come out of it with what is wisdom. That is simply the knowledge of God. That's what I view wisdom, and I think that's the definition of wisdom. But that I've always prayed for wisdom. I've always asked a higher power for wisdom. Growing up in a very evangelical space, everybody said, like, if you pray for wisdom, God gives you wisdom. So I was like, cool, I'm trying to get the things God gives. God gives wisdom, I'm trying to get wisdom. And so little did I know, wisdom also requires a lot of suffering typically and a lot of pain. And that's what taught me all of the things to now hold the space to just tell you, you never had to be perfect. You never had to do all of the things in the ways that your brain is telling you you need to do in order to be blank, in order to be loved, in order to be enough, in order to be wanted, in order to be seen, in order to be part, in order to have purpose. You never had to earn that. And that's the lie that is in our culture and systems and all of it, that you have this default, right? So if you buy this product, if you do this thing, if you show yourself this way, if you have this job, if you do whatever, then what? What is your if-then statement about you and your life? When I have a certain amount of money in my bank account, then I will give myself permission to rest. Why are you not allowing yourself rest? What is the lie that is embedded in you? Where did it start? Because the reality is, we have to zoom out and see it for what it is. We are exhausted because we are bombarded by the reality of uncertainty and the reality of our fear. And what do you do with a child that is in fear? Do you scold them? Do you tell them that they shouldn't have that they're not allowed to have that? Do we pretend that that's not real? The greatest goal is becoming yourself. That right there. The greatest goal is becoming yourself. I couldn't have said that any better. I had this yesterday with my coach. I was thinking, and she said, tell your little self about her happy ending. Because when I got stuck and I get stuck still in the patterns and the template of what was, because that's valid and real. That's what you learned. It is so easy to believe the lies that are no longer the truth right now. The happy ending, the goal that I had, my happily ever after, was to be in the best relationship to me. That I would actually function every day through care of me. And that also means protection of me. That also means a hard no and pulling myself out of places and saying, this is unacceptable with me. I will not allow, just like were to have a child, to give that space to somebody that is harming her. So why am I doing that for me? Because that's the conversation we need to be having within ourselves. And when we are so in a critical space of needing to be perfect, needing to be enough, because it is that serious, it is that deep of a need. If you did not have a healthy mirror showing you you're wanted, you're excited, like it's exciting to see you, to know you, to want you, to love you, to hear your passions, to see you light up in the world, whatever that thing is for you. That childlikeness has been choked out by the reality of be realistic. Nobody has time for that. How dare you if I couldn't? This is so human. And yet we internalize it and we make it about us as if we are bad. I had this yesterday in inner child work within myself, is recognizing that same belief of, wait a second, I have internalized a belief about connection and about love that means an inevitable disconnection. Because every time I've tried, it has ended. in some capacity, and that I have had to come to terms with the acceptance of agency, and that is outside of my control. That those situations that happened in my life were also dependent on the other person's capacity, the other person's desires, the other person's yes and no, the other person's needs. And that I cannot say that simply because I really want it, that is what is best for everything involved. I can hold what is and be sad and be disappointed, but I can look back now and thank God that I did not get what I wanted then. And how much more are we missing those micro moments of what we really need right now because we're just still in it. We can't look back just yet. And how do we create certainty? How do we create the space to be here in the midst of all of this? Is by creating the bits of certainty that we can within us and accepting and grieving the fact that this life is outside of our control. There's nothing I can do to make you believe what I'm saying to you. There's nothing I can do to change your mind about you. I can paint the whole wide world a certain way. I can tell you all the things. But if you don't believe it, it does not change. It does not touch your heart. Hardening our hearts happens over it's erosive. It happens over time. It doesn't happen overnight. Where is that child that existed in you? Where is that joy? And it's not to invalidate all that is real and that has cost you. It's to say, honestly, the reason why so much of our suffering is what it is that we had an expectation that it wasn't supposed to be that way. Our suffering is because we had the expectation and the hope and the need for something that was not what you were given or what life unfolded to be. And that our resistance in that is in the desire to control something that is so much bigger than what we could ever control. And we have to face something by doing that acceptance work, and it is grief. Being loved in a healthy way has shown me all the ways that I've been lied to and unhealthy love. How I've had to, as a kid, adapt to what was literally the bare minimum from the man in my life, my dad. And that to me as a kid, that's all I wanted. I just literally wanted to hear, I'm sorry. And that would have been like a mind-boggling thing to me. I actually said that growing up. If my dad just said, I'm sorry, then I would be good. I just needed to be validated in the fact that it hurt. Of course, that's not actually the case. I grew up to be an adult that did not have the skills to do life, to have healthy conversation and connection with others, to be honest because safety required me to not be fully me. I couldn't show up as myself because there was not space for it. So I had to learn to put those parts away, put that down, put that away. What parts of you have had to die under the realistic guise of certainty of what is? Because what we see and what we cultivate right now is so critical. Nobody can take you out of you. When you have had that connection to you, into a higher power, to understanding that there is a kind, good, higher power that is available to us, and that you do not need to go through humans to experience that. I had so much pain from humans telling me that they represented this higher power but had no fruit of it, had no example of it, had no service and action of it outside of what was performative or what felt performative, because I could see it didn't match. And that's not to say that everybody is that way, and it's not to say that, but just observing and going, wait a second, didn't we say we followed the person of Christ? This don't look like him at all. At all. We've missed the plot. And whether it's through Christianity, whether it's through other things, there is a higher power that you have been created with and in, and have a spirit in you that is capable of connecting to. And that is not the same as your mental loops and your ego and the mind, and the desire for control and the desire for things that are not innately bad in some senses. But the lack of awareness of how we function as people and how we in ourselves function is literally our core responsibility to know and to get to know. Because if you did not have somebody that tried to do that with you, that cared about your internal world, that cared about your heart, that was attuned enough to notice, hey, I can tell something's going on with you. You know you're safe to talk to me about it, right? Whatever it is. And then what? Actually creating the space that if that kid comes forward with some inflammatory whatever, it doesn't turn into a scolding teaching moment. It turns into a space of acknowledging these are my feelings in response to the reality of what this is bringing to me, this human is bringing to me. I have to create safety for them to be in it safely too. How does that happen? It happens from the skills that we've learned within ourselves and undoing and pulling up the roots of what we thought we were. You've been lied to. You have been lied to through and through and through to keep you in the position that you have been placed into. But what about you? What has had to die in you in order to function within systems that have had no regard for your heart or the truth of what you know you are here to do? This is so much bigger than we think. Because your life, this is not to be somber, this is real, y'all. If we run from these kinds of conversations, you will unfortunately be running for the rest of your life and just run into the grave. Every single one of us will pass away. And it's not to be scared of that. It's to say, what are you doing with this precious little blip of time that you have here? You have medicine on your heart. You have something in you that people need. Even if it's just your laughter, your joy, your passion in the micro things, not what you have to monetize, not what you have to create a system to feed into capitalism to prove. No, who are you when all of that burns away? And that's what we're seeing, that our current systems are not functioning for people. Things are burning away and people are going, well, what do we do? What do we do? What do we do? Because nobody's creating the certainty for us. Nobody is creating the certainty, and that's the illusion. That's the lie. There was never certainty, because guess what? I could go out of this house right now and be hit by a freaking bus. There is no certainty that I will wake up tomorrow with the health that I have. There is no, and it's so easy to talk about that and to not actually think, what about your specific God-given and just universal piece of humanity? What can you give? How can you serve people now? And it could be as simple as you giving a smile to somebody as you walk by, saying good morning, saying excuse me and not being rude, because so many people are just so focused in their world, they are not aware of other people. And it's easy to hear these things and go, oh, me too. Welcome. You're in good company. By all means, have these same problems. That's why I'm speaking to them, because I know I'm not alone in that. And I've had to navigate so much of this alone, but that everything in life requires death and rebirth. And the reality is that there will be a day which you do not have the opportunity to do this. And you will wish for what you once had, whether it was health, whether it was time with your children that now resent you because you didn't prioritize the time that was there, that we were distorted in our own pain, that we created systems that served systems instead of serving relationship and connection to all that is. This is so much bigger than what we think, but it starts so micro. It starts in the little everyday choices that we make. How do you treat you when you struggle? How do you treat you when you're scared? And I just had this moment yesterday with me of going, oh my gosh, That inner child came up and was like, why did you show your heart? Why did you do this? Why did you put yourself out there? Because you know what happens when you do? You get hurt. You're going to get hurt. And the reality of what I needed to hear was, I know there's always a chance of that being the case. But the way that you actually feel real connection and love is because you do it anyway. You say, I know that there's a chance, and I will use discernment, I will use wisdom, I will use my tools to be here and to be aware of what my heart is feeling and to know that there's nothing I need to hide in who I am in the world. And that that's not for everybody. You are not intended to be for everybody. And we are functioning in a system that praises social media and the amount of people that say yes to you existing and the worthiness of you existing. I like that, right? So I'm going to say like, whatever, and approve of this. That gives us a validation and an identity. But if all of that is gone tomorrow, who are you today? Who are you in response to a world that is outside of your control? If all of this goes south tomorrow, who is left? And I invite you to really come to the acceptance of where you are in this very moment without any shame, and acknowledging that that's the only way that we can start in a different direction. If I have a map, and this is me aging myself, a real map before GPSs were a thing, you don't know where you are on the map and where you're going until you have an actual location of where you are to start. That is forever. We will constantly get lost, come back, get lost, come back, break, repair, break, repair, break, repair. That's also how trust and intimacy are built. The trust that you need right now is not that the world changes, is that you can face the world while it's changing. That you will hold you. You will love you. You will be tender when you're scared. You will sit with yourself when you cry. You will not turn away. You will not cope away. And there's so many shiny distractions that pull us out of truth because of the fact that we just have them available to us in every way, in every corner that we turn. We have ways that we can avoid what we don't want to feel, we don't want to see. And real empowerment comes when we have proven through action, and it doesn't have to be big action, micro actions, that you are who you say that you are, that you are who you feel and know that you are. And looking at the space in between, that's so much of what I get to do with my clients, is saying, in your heart, this is who you know that you are. This is the purpose that you have been placed on this earth to carry forward. You have medicine, you have gifts, you have things that people desperately need you to step into. And it's taken me years to fully step into my business because of how refining it is. Terrifying to be seen in the ways and to serve others and to have a space of speaking in authority. It's hard to hold yourself to that same regard. And to be a person in process, to be broken, to struggle, to have things always, because that's the lie, is that we were ever supposed to be perfect. We were ever going to be anything other than what is today. We've been lied to in systems that say, if you just buy this product, you're going to be great. Everybody's going to think you're so cool. If you have the biggest house and you have the best job and you check all your boxes, then what? What is that for you? And sit with that. Don't run from that. I love this comment. Michael, one of my young cousins, posed a question as he was on a fasting journey. Who are you when you have nothing? That is so timely. Yesterday I slept a whole 3.5 hours, 4 hours. It was a very long day. And I felt like I had nothing to give. And I leaned into a conversation with a woman at a playground that ended up being the exact thing that my heart needed to hear, and hers too. It was a total God moment, and it reminded me everything that I actually have to give does not come from my active giving, but from my active being. And everything that I can give to you is because I am being it, not because I have to earn to attain it. There are things that we earn. There are things that we work towards. There are things that we practice and we gain as we go. Your worthiness and your ability to be here is not that. If you have air that is compatible in your lungs and you're breathing right now, you're worthy to be here. It's quoting Alexander Dwayne, who I love and quote all the time, his work. But you have worth here because you're here. You have space here because you're here. You are wanted here as you are, created as you are because you're here. That's not up for debate. The whole conversation of which person is more valuable than other people is the wrong conversation. They are here. The earth is here. That is the worthiness that it should be cared for. So let's just make that abundantly clear. Acceptance requires grief. And that also means the acceptance of the fact that it does suck. It is hard. It is scary. It is dark. It is real. And the trust that you need from you is that you will not run from you. You have the capacity. You have the tools. You have the everyday decisions to trust, and that you have proven with the foundation that you can trust your word to you. And that does not mean you're perfect simply because you made the decision to try and to trust your word with you, but that you have tried and proven over this constant nonlinear bumpy progression towards the truth of what you actually are. That has had to be choked out. And I can promise you, after working with clients, after doing everything that I've done within children for the last 14 years as a nanny, as teaching, and in so many other spaces, but primarily as a nanny, directly seeing the patterns, seeing the impacts of parenting, seeing the impacts of all of it. Do you know what true healing is? It is simply the recognition that you've been lied to and that you had to be anything other than what that child was in the first place. True healing is to go back to what was real as a child that was yours, that was stolen from you, because that was not in a space where it could actually be nurtured, that it could actually grow and evolve. Hey girl, my girl Danny is here. She just got engaged. Y'all say congratulations. We love them. But I just, guys, I feel so many people are spinning going, who's going to save us? Nobody will. And that's not to be dark. It's to acknowledge that we have to be the ones creating certainty within us. The certainty of, if today I get a diagnosis, if today my wonderful, beautiful partner leaves, if today my best friends decide they hate me, if today I lose my home, if today I have no money for food, if today something happened, what will I do? And you know why I have confidence in that? Because I've had to walk literally through the darkest, most scariest parts of me, through loss, through pain, and saying, I won't turn away from your pain. They turned away from my pain. That's why it hurt as long as it did, because we never got through it to the other side. And this is the same when it comes to relationship, when it comes to conflict. Think about this. Really think about it. You were in spaces with parents. And it's not to blame all parents, because they're just people too. They're just kids too. They just have more responsibility and bigger impacts. And then they help us form these templates that create and send us out into the world with a belief that we have internalized. If we're not consciously doing that, which most people are not, wounds happen. What is the difference between a healthy conflict and a conflict that leads to trauma and internalized beliefs? Is that a child is alone in it. That they've had to be in it without the resolve that comes after healthy conflict. When you have conflict with somebody that you love, the goal is to remain in connection and to seek repair, because there is difference, there is pain, there is whatever. So how does that actually look like in these types of conversations? I messed up as your parent. I hurt you. I wasn't connected to your heart in the ways that you needed. And I am learning too. And it's not okay still, even if I'm learning, because it did hurt you. So I'm going to think and I'm going to ask you and I'm going to participate in repair. I'm going to act repair. I'm going to choose repair. I'm going to try in repair. That so much of what we needed was somebody just taking the accountability to try. You did not want a perfect parent. You wanted your parent to try and to turn towards you and to love you and celebrate and be with you and create space for you, that if you needed help, if you were struggling, if you whatever, you could fall apart and be held in it. That safety and love would not be taken away. And how many people like me got sent to our rooms to think about it as if I was not just sent into my room to be a kid and be distracted or internalize all the shame by myself. I did not know what to do because I was brand new here. And you are brand new here too. When it comes to conflict, we have to understand that everything that exists is always in the process of rupture and repair. And if we do not acknowledge that we will break things, we will hurt people, and we will hurt ourselves, then we are stuck in this loop that is a lie. It is an illusion. And if you live in that illusion, you will be a slave to it and defending it and protecting your heart and trying to do everything to pretend that that is real. It's not real. It's not real. It never was supposed to be. So much of what these platforms push forward and push up is that, specifically to disconnect you from what is real. Because if you are disconnected from the power that you hold, you will let them do it for you. You have power. You have a voice. You have space that exists in the world. You can serve people. And guess what? Your life will be over one day. What are we doing? What are we prioritizing? What are we willing to face? Because if I was in that same conflict and I said, what are you talking about? I didn't say that. That's not real. How come? And I gaslight and I manipulate, or I scoff off. I turn away from you. It's a missed opportunity for what? Connection and intimacy. Real connection is when there is rupture and somebody says, I see you. I care enough to try. You do not have to be perfect with you. Will you give yourself the space to try? What does a 1% chance of trying look like? You do not have to prove this to anybody but you. And by proving it, I mean just acknowledging the fact that you've been lied to. You've been lied to, and so have I, by so many things that doesn't have to be malicious to be a lie that we've adopted as truth. The truth is you are worthy of being here. The truth is that life is outside of our control. The truth is there is a good higher power that exists to support you, and there is another opposite polarity that also exists to destroy you. And we are seeing that very clearly in public ways now that we have not seen before. We are seeing the face of darkness. What do you bring to the dark? Because think about it. Light. The light, what it might create is shadows of what is already there. But when light meets the darkness, what happens? The darkness it cannot hide. And we are seeing so clearly darkness, and it feels so invasive and it feels so scary because it is. But I am here to remind you of the power that you hold in creating certainty for you and love. Not that certainty that your life will be perfect and comfortable, not the certainty of the West of that you will have the biggest house and the most successful whatever and blah, 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 blah. It's so empty. I've seen it working for millionaires for years. What is your heart? Who are you when all of those things go away? That is the truth of your character. Not how you treat strangers, how you treat the people closest to you. What do you do with you? Because you are the closest to you than anybody else will ever be. What will you be with you during uncertainty, during chaos, during struggles. And y'all, I had a dream. This primarily is also because I had a dream last night that really scared me. In this dream, a woman came up to my car begging, saying that she was being chased by a group that we are seeing all over the country, inflicting harm on people from migrant communities. I'm not going to say it because I've already suppressed all the things. But you know what I'm talking about. And in this dream, there were 2 children there, and I saw their eyes. And she was begging me, please, can we get in your car? They're coming, can please. And you know what I did? I hesitated. I was scared for my own safety. I hesitated in my dream. And then I finally said, okay, fine, get in. And it was too late. We are in a time that is really hard. And it typically doesn't just go away. And I know it's easy to want it to go away. And to be a kid with our eyes closed, going like this, saying, I'm scared. La 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 la, I can't hear you. It's not my fault because it's their problem. I'm here to remind you that that is an illusion. The separation between you and anybody else is an illusion. That same consciousness that you carry, they hold too. The same worth that you have because you have the ability to breathe the air in your lungs, they have too. There is no such thing as separation from all that is. We have been lied to. We have been taking and taking and taking and not giving. How can you give to the people closest to you, starting with you? Do you think that your body can function well? Let's be real. Let's look at it through the lens of kids. If I have kids that are sleeping really poorly, that have not had snacks, if you have kids and you know about the snacks, you come prepared. I have a glove compartment of snacks for emergencies because they are little different humans when snacks are not involved, food is not involved. If I have hungry kids, tired kids, scared kids, and I have not done what is necessary to make sure that they rest, to make sure that they can get the energy out that they need to make sure that they have the training they need to then function in life, how in the world will that kid be? That kid will be a total mess, falling apart at every little thing. I can't tie my shells, I'm sad, that is us. We are the children. The whole be realistic, you're an adult, you have more responsibility is some BS. You grew up and now have responsibilities because you aren't by yourself in the world. And you do have to figure out how to eat, how to function, how to people. And you get to create the space so that you can thrive in it. And only you know what you need. So the way that we create certainty in uncertainty is by allowing yourself to say, what is 1% of a choice that I can make towards a better outcome for little Lacey? For me, it's in sleeping. I struggle when I don't sleep, and it's really hard for me to get off work and be like, I do things for people all day. I want to do for me and have my own time. And I procrastinate sleep because I want to have time with me. But what is actually happening is I want to be able to have space to be passionate and to love and to do the things that I like and to think about the things I want to think about. And that typically is hard to do when you're surrounded by people that you are taking care of. And yet I have to remember that my job as a caregiver right now and in working with my clients is to care for me alongside of caring for others. Because can I care for you if I don't care for me? It's the oxygen mask, and we know it, but we don't want to acknowledge the fact that you have real freaking needs, y'all. And what are we doing? By fulfilling these dopamine hits that are like eating candy for every single meal. We are so desperately seeking certainty, which glues us to the things that we're just waiting for the next slot machine of information. We are consuming. We are consuming in excess to the point that we feel like we're going to pop. We feel numb because your body literally cannot hold it. nor was it ever intended to. And I am so in this with you because me too. Me freaking too. It's so easy to get distracted. What does 1% towards what you know you should be doing for you look like? And what would it look like if you actually sat with yourself without distractions and asked, what do you need from me? And I guarantee you how quickly that part of you will come up and go, gosh, I'm so glad you finally asked. Yesterday, it was my little Lace coming up saying, you can't show your heart in relationship. Don't you know what happens when you do that? And I had to be the inner parent and saying, I know you're scared. I know you care so much. I know you're so happy and you're scared at the same time. And I need you to trust me that no matter what happens, because anything could happen. It could be the best thing that's ever happened to you. It could be, who knows? Nobody knows what could happen. That I will be here with you in it. There is no guarantee. And we reach for certainty that we didn't get within us. And we can create the certainty and the knowing that we have to accept what is if we ever desire for anything to be different. That doesn't mean we condone it. We have to accept that death and renewal are part of life. And we have to acknowledge that actual empowerment is when we are connected to our power and the power of humanity and the power of God and love in the hardship. Because hardship is going to happen. And we have been very comfortable and we've created infrastructures and systems to get us extremely comfortable and detached from the fact that this has never been the way that it's been. It is, how do we learn and grow? It's often through tension. Look at how muscles grow. What has to happen? What has to happen after a forest fire? What has to happen? It has to burn to give the nutrients to the ground to flourish in ways that it hasn't before due to the heat. Is that the ideal in our mind? Do we hope for that? No. Does it cause destruction? Yes. Are there consequences and things that are lost in part? Of course. And there is a bigger purpose. There is a bigger piece than just what we have as individuals have said is the most important in our own ego. Our ego wants to tell us that our comfort, our safety, our everything goes first. And you know what's true? Your life will end at some point or another. Will you stand by the values that you hold? Will you own what you need? Will you show up for people and for you when it's hard? And it does not mean perfection. It means trying, because that is enough. Just you being is enough. But we are distracted from being because we're in the doing. And we're distracted from self because we have all these beliefs in us that have kept us from the childlike truth of what you actually are in this moment. And if we sit with that, it's uncomfortable and it's challenging, but that's where the truth is. That's where the fulfillment is. That's where God is. That's where love is. That's where people are. It is the hardest thing I have ever done. I almost took my life in 2020 and 2021. And I am telling you this as somebody who has quite literally been to the depths of pain and existed in spaces with abusive narcissistic father. And that was what my whole world looked like. Was shame. You're doing something wrong. You are wrong. You are bad. Undiagnosed ADHD. Micro rejections all the time. Lacey, why are you doing this? Lacey, why can't you just sit still? Lacey, why aren't you what? Why aren't you the way that you are? Why can't you just be this person? Why can't you just be... And look what I get to do today because of this neurospicy brain that has seen the patterns and figured out things and seen it in myself. My brain doesn't function like no other people, and it shouldn't, because it's mine. And I have to learn how to deal with that in the world and function. I have to learn how to love the parts of me that don't feel pretty and shiny. And know that no matter what other people say about that, that is not in their hands to dictate the worth that I am and the worth that you are because you are here. And I'm so passionate about this because I see it in me and I see it in others, and people are wasting away in fear right now and in the very narrative that they hope for, which is to overwhelm you, to overwhelm your body's ability to cope. That's what trauma is the overwhelm of the ability to cope. And we are being intentionally overwhelmed by everything in our lives to distract us from what lives here. It is more available to us than anything else. Any other time that we've ever had, the distractions, the things that can give us the quick, cheap candy highs, when what we need is nourishment, which takes time to grow in the earth and has a process and requires nurturing of it. Your life is a garden. What are you growing? What is coming out of it? And that, like you said, Michael, you went to the very edge of defeat. I was defeated in my mind my whole life. And I became wise and renewed. That was a miracle in so many ways. I have every reason to be cynical, to be a liar, to be an addict, to be all of these things. And I've struggled with all of those things because that was the template that I knew. It is courageous to do this, and I commend you for trying, because you are already so far past what most people do. Most people spend the majority of their life avoiding who they are, in the fear that if they see it, it will be ugly, it will validate all the fears that they had, and that maybe, just maybe, their parents, that person that hated them, the whatever was right. What do you say about you? And it reminds me of the words of Christ when he says, "Who do you say that I am?" Like they said this, they said that, they say that you're the king of the Jews or the whatever, that however they painted it in the verse, and I don't remember, so I could be totally wrong. But his response was, "Who do you say that I am?" That is within you. That Christ consciousness and awareness, that spirit, is that connection to the higher power. That is love. That is the solution when we get out of the way. We are like a toddler spinning. And I see this every day too. I gotta hurry, I gotta do this, they're spinning. And I'm thinking as the adult, nothing as what they're doing is going to help pay the bills, is going to help drive to be on time, is going to help what I need to do as the adult in charge. We are not in charge, and we were not intended to be in charge. What you are intended to be in charge of is to accept what is actually happening in you and make decisions from that space. Not to control you either, but to make decisions that deepen and connect you more to the truth of who you are and the higher power that is available to us. Because it's not going to be here that you find any of that. There's so much evidence of it in how much money people have, yet they still pass away by their own timing because they're so deeply unhappy. Because they've had a belief that if this happens, then I will fill in the blank. It's never coming from outside. And we want the outside to validate us because we need mirrors, and we need healthy validation, and we need people, and we need ourselves. And we've been lied to think that we could do this alone. So I encourage you today to remember that you do not have to be perfect, but you are responsible for your life and your trying. You are a valuable piece of humanity, and you have power in you that can help people and help yourself. No matter where this video finds you, no matter how you feel in this moment, you don't have to stay there. You are the only one that is carrying the fullness of how you see you, with all of the knowing of who you are in your fullness. I might have experienced you for this period of time and have my own perception of what that might be. Your parents experienced you for this period of time when you were living there, your relationships, your exes, your whoever. You are the only one that is bringing the meaning that you have made about you into every moment. You are the only one that can say who you are in your fullness, because nobody else is there but you. That is the truth. Who do you decide to bring forward? Who do you say that you are? Because nobody else has the fullness and the understanding of that but you. And that is the key. That is the power that you hold, is in your perception and in your own word to you, in the uncertainty, in the chaos, in the fear. I love you guys. Thank you for hanging out with me. And I hope that this encouraged you in some way, because man, my face is getting red, y'all. People out here manipulating and hurting people, and I just want to flip tables every 5 seconds and remind us that there's so much more than what is being presented, and it has to come from us and within the communities that are actually around us. But yeah, that's all I got for you guys. If you have any questions or you have any thoughts you want to share, totally feel free. I know sometimes I can go on a tangent and it feels like I'm like, it's my own like internalized you talk too much vibe, but I can go on a tangent and then feel like sometimes it's like drinking out of a fire hose. So truth out of a fire hose, sometimes we be needing it. But I'm thankful to be here, guys, and I love you guys, and I really know that this is possible for you if you decide that it is. And if you decide that it is and it's not, you won't. But I am going to, considering I'm not seeing any questions or anything, I'm going to go ahead and finish this live. I will save it. If you guys could like and engage and share and all the things, it really does help more than you know, especially if you've ever said anything of meaning on the internet that doesn't just go with all the self-building, look at me, I'm shiny, I'm pretty narratives. I've seen this through and through. I went from reaching a ridiculous amount of people on Facebook and on Meta to speaking about things that actually matter and being completely penalized for it. And so you guys don't even know how much I desire to be in this space for you, but it's frustrating to care and to know that I'm trying to provide something that hopefully gives you the space to think and to question and to feel safe in questioning and thinking about these things within you. And as somebody who has been there, can say that you have nothing to fear in the dark of you and the twisty parts of you. It's the meaning that you make about you there that matters the most. And how do we do that in a loving and compassionate way? A lot of times they're just skills that we didn't learn, and challenging those thoughts. And we can't do that if we don't make space for it, we don't try, or we're just reactive in defending those parts of us without even really thinking and introspecting about why is that? Where did that start? What is that keeping me from? What is that protecting me from? What is that giving to me? And in doing that, beginning to unlock the fact that you are all of it, and you always have been. You are all of it. You are darkness and light. You are good and bad. You have parts of you that need improvement and other parts of you where you thrive. And you still need your love there. You still need compassion. It is your first time here, and it's a lot. So just remember that. Every moment is your first time here. Okay? I love you guys. I hope you have a great day. It's almost Friday. Do something nice to you today. Okay, that's all. Bye.